here's the kind of the real I don't know, maybe it's the heaviest underlying theme is just the idea, and it's about happiness, right? Not only about happiness, but this sort of underlying unhappiness in the world, underlying sadness in the world. When I was a kid and I was working at Wendy's and I saw Jean and I saw that she was freaking happy. And I knew that I wasn't. And I didn't even know if I could be. It didn't seem like an achievable thing. It seemed like there was too much. It seemed like there was too much underlying things in the world that just are going to be bad. Right? And I always sensed that in the world. I always had this sense in the world of this underlying sadness, this underlying despair, this underlying suffering. And I don't want to use the term depression because maybe you wrap all those things together, because depression seems like it's a clinical, sort of like a problem that you treat type thing. And I didn't feel like this was a clinical problem. It just seemed like life to me was not going to go the way you wanted it to go. For anyone. You're going to end up in the wrong job. You're going to end up in the wrong relationship. Something's going to be wrong with your health. Something's going to be wrong in your family. And we're going to die. And we're all going to die. And before we die, we're going to suffer. And by the way, everyone that you know and everyone that you love is going to suffer and die. And so I kind of had this underlying sense of the world. And then I would catch like glimpses of people that were happy. And sometimes it was someone like Gene. There was another guy that worked at a freaking junkyard who was kind of jacked, especially when I was younger. You know, when you were younger. And in the 70s, if someone was jacked in the 70s, like it was a whole, it was like a next level, right? Yeah. Because you're not used to seeing people that are jacked at all. And I remember seeing this guy who worked at a junkyard, and he looked happy, and I was like, dude, this guy's just jacked and just lifting engine parts around a junkyard, and it seemed like he was happy. So that's sort of this underlying theme. And I'll tell you, like, when I got to the teams, thank God. When I got to the teams, that's when I started feeling like, oh, like kind of happy. Like, this is cool. Yeah. The people I'm with are kind of cool. And life's not going to be perfect, but we're going to have a good time living this imperfect life. So I started to get a little bit relieved of that as I got older. But I think that, you know, Johnny kind of realizes that he's not going to be happy. And this is the other sort of underlying theme, is this idea of sacrifice. And when Johnny realizes that he can't be happy, or at least he doesn't think he can be happy, he sees that, you know, kind of the way I looked at Jean, the Wendy's salad bar girl, but that's his brother. Mm-hmm. And the situation unfolds where he's not going to be able to be happy anymore, where Artie is not going to be happy anymore. And Johnny knows if he makes sacrifices, he could preserve the happiness for his brother, especially because he's never going to be happy himself. You know, I had this conversation with Stoner one time. We were out surfing, and he was asking me that. He's like, bro, I don't know. It's like the same thing. He's like, bro, I'm never going to, how am I ever going to be happy? I'm never going to be happy. And we were literally, it's like a beautiful Southern California. We're out at our surf spot. For whatever reason, there's not many guys out. There's a little offshore breeze. The water's warm. It's a, you know, chest to head high swell, pretty consistent. Like it doesn't get any better. And he's out here saying to me like, oh, how you ever find happiness? And I'm like, bro, this is it, man. This is it right here. And that's what, that's what you have to be able to find. You have to be able to find that the path that you're on, even though it's challenging, even though there's suffering, that's the happiness too. And the sacrifice part is putting others above yourself. And obviously on this podcast we talk about heroes, and we talk to heroes in many cases. And most of the ones that we talk to here are military people, right? Soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines. But those aren't the only people. Those aren't the only people in the world that are heroes, right? And I'm not just talking about law enforcement and firefighters and first responders as well either. There's all kinds of people in the world that put others above themselves and put other people's happiness above themselves. And whether that's mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and wives and husbands and friends. I mean, there's friends that do that. Friends that put other people's happiness and other people's success above themselves. And really that's one of the other underlying themes of the book. And that that's a theme that's consistent with all the books that I've written, fiction, nonfiction. People that are putting others above themselves. That's what leadership is, and ultimately, that's what life is about. So, I think if you can put others before yourselves, then if we do that, then you can find some happiness. And at a minimum, you can leave the world in better condition than you found it. And if you can pull that off, I think if you can pull that off, then you can die with a clean conscience, and you can die with a smile on your face. And you can leave a smile on the face of the people you left behind. And that's a good life. And that is Final Spin.